When Marcus Holloway found a wallet outside a San Francisco office building, he had no idea it belonged to one of the world's richest men, or that his decision to return it would transform his life forever. After 3 years of homelessness, following the collapse of his tech career, Marcus faces a moral dilemma that tests his integrity at its breaking point. The choice he makes in that moment sets in motion a chain of events that no one, not even Elon Musk himself, could have predicted. Marcus Holloway pulled his thin jacket tighter as the morning fog rolled in from San Francisco Bay. September in Tijuana, the city was chilly, especially for someone who slept outdoors. He settled on his usual bench near the ferry building, watching as office workers and tourists hurried past, most not even glancing his way. 3 years on the streets had taught Marcus to become almost invisible. At 42, his beard was speckled with gray, and his dark brown eyes had lost some of their spark. But he still carried himself with quiet dignity, keeping his clothes as clean as possible by washing them in public restrooms. "Morning, Marcus," called Ellie, who sold coffee from a small cart nearby. She was one of the few people who treated him like a human being. "Morning," he replied, his voice rough from the cold night air. "Looks like a busy day coming." Ellie nodded toward the line of sleek cars pulling up. "Some big tech conference happening at the Embarcadero Center. Might be a good day for spare change." Marcus nodded but didn't move. He didn't like begging. Most days, he collected recyclables or did odd jobs when he could find them. Before he lost everything, he'd been a computer programmer at a promising startup. He sometimes wondered what his old co-workers would think if they saw him now. Salaman, Tesla Model S pulled up close to his bench. Marcus recognized the car, the latest model with the updated front end. In his previous life, he'd followed Tesla's innovations closely, dreaming of owning one someday. The car door opened, and a man stepped out, talking rapidly on his phone. Marcus blinked in surprise. Even with the baseball cap pulled low and sunglasses on, there was no mistaking Elon Musk. Marcus had watched enough SpaceX launches and Tesla presentations to recognize him instantly. "We need to push the neural network update before the demo," Musk was saying as he climbed out of the car. "The responsiveness in city environments still isn't where it needs to be." Marcus watched as Musk walked briskly toward one of the office buildings, still deep in conversation. Something fell from his pocket as he turned the corner, but Musk didn't notice and continued walking. For a moment, Marcus just stared at the small object on the sidewalk. People walked past, no one paying attention to the item. Curiosity got the better of him, and he rose from his bench, muscles stiff from the cold. He picked up what turned out to be a slim black wallet made of fine leather. Looking around to see if anyone was watching, Marcus stepped back to his bench and sat down. His heart raced as he opened the wallet. Inside was a stack of $100 bills, at least 20 of them, several credit cards, and a California driver's license with Elon Musk's photo and name clearly visible. Marcus's hands began to shake. $2,000 would change everything for him. It would mean a cheap room for weeks, maybe months. Real meals, new clothes for job interviews, a chance to get back on his feet. And Musk probably wouldn't even notice the money was gone. What was $2,000 to a man worth billions? "Found something interesting?" Ellie called from her coffee cart. Marcus quickly closed the wallet. "Just some trash," he replied, tucking it into his jacket pocket. As the morning crowd thinned, Marcus sat thinking. The money felt heavy in his pocket. He hadn't stolen anything since he became homeless, not even when he was most desperate. He had always believed that his integrity was the last thing he truly owned. His father's voice echoed in his memory. "A man's character is what he does when no one is watching." Marcus. Right now, no one was watching. No one would know if he kept the money and tossed the wallet. It would be so easy. Marcus pulled out the wallet again and looked at the ID. Musk had probably already canceled his credit cards. But the cash could save Marcus from another winter on the streets. A memory flashed through his mind. His last winter in an apartment, writing code with a cup of hot coffee beside him, rain pattering on the windows. Then came the company's collapse, the medical bills that drained his savings, and finally, the eviction notice. 3 years later, here he was, holding more money than he'd seen at once in all that time. Marcus stood up. His decision was made. He walked toward the building where Musk had entered. A security guard eyed him suspiciously as he approached the glass doors. "Can I help you?" the guard asked, positioning himself to block the entrance. "I found something that belongs to someone in your building," Marcus said. The guard looked him up and down. "What is it?" "A wallet. It belongs to Elon Musk." The guard laughed. "Sure it does. Move along, buddy." Marcus held out the wallet, keeping a firm grip on it. "Look for yourself. He dropped it outside about 20 minutes ago." Reluctantly, the guard glanced at the open wallet. His eyes widened when he saw the ID. "Let me make a call," he said, suddenly all business. He spoke quietly into his radio, keeping his eyes on Marcus. Another security person appeared, a woman in a suit who looked more like management than a guard. "Sir, I understand you found Mr. Musk's wallet?" she asked. Marcus nodded. "I'm Teresa Diaz, head of security for this building. If you'll come with me to the desk, we can sort this out." Marcus followed her inside, acutely aware of his worn clothes and unwashed hair in the gleaming lobby. Office workers in expensive suits gave him a wide berth. At the security desk, Teresa asked to see the wallet. Marcus handed it over, feeling a pang as he watched the stack of bills disappear from his grasp. Teresa counted the money. $2,000, credit cards, ID. Everything appears to be here. She looked at him with newfound respect. Not everyone would return this intact. Marcus shrugged. "It wasn't mine. Can I get your name?" "Marcus Holloway." Teresa made a note. "Do you have a phone number or address where Mr. Musk can reach you? I'm sure he'd like to thank you." Marcus gave a hollow laugh. "No phone, no address. I'm usually near the ferry building if he wants to find me." Understanding dawned in Teresa's eyes as she finally truly saw him. Not just a shabby stranger, but a homeless man who had returned a wallet full of cash. "Wait here," she said, picking up a phone. Marcus waited, wondering if he'd made the right choice. That money could have changed his life. Now he would return to his bench with nothing but the knowledge that he'd done the right thing. And right now, that didn't feel like enough. Marcus stood in the gleaming lobby, feeling more out of place with each passing minute. The security desk where Teresa sat was made of polished marble. Behind her, screens displayed the movements of people throughout the building. Everything was sleek, modern, expensive, a world away from the bench where Marcus had spent the morning. Teresa hung up the phone and turned to him. "Mr. Musk is in meetings all day. Very important meetings that can't be interrupted." Marcus nodded, not surprised. Why would a billionaire cut short a meeting for someone like him? "But," Teresa continued, "his assistant would like you to come back at 5 p.m. Mr. Musk wants to thank you personally." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "I can just leave the wallet with you." Mr. Musk was very clear that he wants to thank you himself. Teresa slid the wallet into a drawer. "We'll keep this safe until then." "How do I know you'll give him the wallet with everything in it?" The words slipped out before Marcus could stop them. Teresa didn't seem offended. "That's fair. I'll write you a receipt." She took out a form and listed the wallet's contents, then signed it and handed it to Marcus. "And I'll need to see some ID." Marcus almost laughed. "I don't have ID. It got stolen at a shelter last year." Teresa frowned, but then wrote, "Marcus Holloway," on another form. "Can you sign here? And I'll need to take your picture for our security system so you can get back in at 5. After his picture was taken, Marcus folded the receipt carefully and put it in his pocket. He felt strange leaving without the wallet, like he was somehow being tricked. "Remember, 5 p.m. sharp," Teresa said, as he turned to go. Outside, the morning fog had burned away, leaving a bright, cool day. Marcus walked back to his bench, his mind racing. Had he done the right thing? Would Musk really meet with him? Or was that just a way to get rid of him? He thought about the $2,000 again. With that money, he could have stayed at the SRO Hotel on Mission Street for almost 2 months. He could have bought new clothes, a prepaid phone, maybe even a used laptop to start coding again. But he wouldn't have been able to look at himself in the mirror. "You're back," Ellie called from her coffee cart. "What was that all about?" Marcus hesitated, then walked over. "I found Elon Musk's wallet." Ellie's eyes widened. "No way! For real?" "For real." He dropped it getting out of his car. "And you returned it?" Ellie looked at him like he was crazy. "Was there money in it?" $2,000. Ellie let out a low whistle. "Marcus, you could have." "I know." He shrugged. "They want me to come back at 5. Say Musk wants to thank me himself. Maybe he'll give you a reward." Ellie's face brightened. "Maybe he'll give you a job." Marcus shook his head. "People like him don't give jobs to people like me." "You never know," Ellie insisted. She handed him a coffee. "On the house. You deserve it." The warm cup felt good in Marcus's hands. He hadn't had coffee in days. "Thanks, Ellie." "So what are you going to do until 5? "Good question." Usually, Marcus would collect cans or look for odd jobs. But today felt different. He was supposed to meet one of the richest men in the world in a few hours. "I think I'll clean up a bit," he said finally. Ellie nodded approvingly. The gas station on Howard has a bathroom where the attendant will let you in if you buy something small. Marcus sipped his coffee, thinking. He had exactly 427 to his name, all his worldly wealth. He'd been saving it for something important, and he supposed this qualified. The hours crawled by. Marcus washed his face and hands at the gas station, combed his beard with his fingers, and tried to brush the dirt off his clothes. His jacket was worn, but still decent. A good quality one he'd bought in his previous life. His jeans had a tear at one knee, and his shoes were falling apart, but there wasn't much he could do about that. At 4:30, he started walking back to the building. His stomach was tight with nervousness. What would he say to Elon Musk? What did you say to someone whose life was so different from yours? As he approached the building, doubt crept in. This was stupid. Musk wouldn't be there. It was probably some kind of joke or misunderstanding. He almost turned around, but then he remembered his father's words again. "Finish what you start, Marcus." The same security guard was at the door, but his attitude had changed completely. "Mr. Holloway," he said respectfully, "Ms. Diaz is expecting you." Inside, Teresa met him with a smile. "Right on time. Let me take you upstairs." They rode the elevator in silence to the 34th floor. Marcus tried not to stare at his reflection in the mirrored walls, but he couldn't help noticing how out of place he looked. Teresa led him down a hallway to a conference room with glass walls. Inside was a long table, empty except for a pitcher of water and some glasses. "Please wait here," she said. "Mr. Musk will be with you shortly." After she left, Marcus stood awkwardly, not sure if he should sit down. The chair looked expensive, and he was very aware of how dirty his clothes were. Finally, he chose a chair near the door and perched on the edge, trying not to touch the backrest. Minutes ticked by. Marcus began to think this was all an elaborate prank. Then the door opened, and Elon Musk walked in. He was taller than Marcus had expected, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt, much more casual than the suits Marcus had seen on everyone else in the building. His eyes were sharp and curious as they took in Marcus. "You must be Marcus Holloway," Musk said, extending his hand. "I believe you found something of mine." Marcus stood up quickly and shook Musk's hand, acutely aware of the contrast between them. One of the richest men in the world, and a man who owned nothing but the clothes on his back. "Yes, sir," Marcus said, his voice stronger than he expected. "I found your wallet this morning when you dropped it outside." Musk gestured for Marcus to sit down, then took a seat across from him. "Teresa tells me everything was there. Cash, cards, ID. That's pretty unusual." Marcus shrugged. It was the right thing to do. Musk leaned forward, studying Marcus with intense curiosity. Most people would at least have kept the cash. $2,000 is a lot of money. "Not to you," Marcus said, before he could stop himself. A smile tugged at the corner of Musk's mouth. "Fair point, but I get the impression it would mean a lot to you." Marcus didn't respond. What could he say? That he'd been awake half the night because the shelter was too crowded and noisy? That he hadn't eaten a real meal in days? That his shoes had holes and his socks were wet because it had rained the night before? Musk broke the silence. "Why didn't you keep it? Be honest." Marcus thought about it. "My father always said your integrity is all you really own. I guess. I didn't want to lose the only thing I still have." Musk nodded slowly, as if Marcus had confirmed something. He pulled out his phone and tapped something, then set it down. "Tell me about yourself, Marcus. What's your story?" The question caught Marcus off guard. Why would Elon Musk care about his life? "Not much to tell," he said. "I'm just trying to survive." "You weren't always homeless," Musk observed. "What did you do before?" Marcus hesitated. It had been so long since anyone had asked about his previous life that he'd almost forgotten how to talk about it. "I was a software engineer," he said finally. "Specialized in AI applications. Worked for a startup called NeuroSync for almost 5 years." Musk's eyebrows raised slightly. NeuroSync. They were developing machine learning algorithms for renewable energy systems, right? Went under about 3 years ago? Marcus was surprised. "You know about them?" "I keep an eye on all the AI startups, especially ones working in areas relevant to my companies." Musk poured water from the pitcher into 2 glasses and slid one toward Marcus. "What happened? To you, I mean." Marcus took a sip of water, gathering his thoughts. "Company went bankrupt when our main investor pulled out. I had some savings, but then I got sick. A bad infection that turned into pneumonia. No health insurance after losing my job. The medical bills took everything I had. And then? Couldn't pay rent. Got evicted. Stayed with friends until I wore out my welcome. Tried to find work, but it's hard to get hired when you don't have an address or a phone or a place to shower." Marcus's voice was matter-of-fact, without self-pity. "The longer you're on the streets, the harder it is to get off them." Musk was silent for a moment, his fingers tapping lightly on the table. "Did you try to get back into programming?" Marcus gave a short, humorless laugh. "How?" "I don't have a computer. don't have internet. Libraries only let you use their computers for an hour a day. Can't exactly show up to a coding interview in these clothes." He gestured at his worn jacket and jeans. "You could have kept the money in my wallet," Musk pointed out. "That might have helped. For a little while, maybe. But then I'd be back where I started. Plus, I'd have to live with knowing I stole." Musk's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at Marcus. "Are you hungry?" The question was so unexpected that Marcus almost laughed. Was he hungry? He was always hungry. "I could eat," he said carefully. "There's a small dining room next door. Nothing fancy, but better than conference. Room water." Musk stood up. "Let's continue our conversation there." Feeling slightly dazed, Marcus followed Musk down the hall to a room with a small table already set, with 2 plates of food: sandwiches, salad, and fruit. "Hope this is okay," Musk said. "I had them bring something simple." To Marcus, who had been eating from food pantries and occasional restaurant discards, the food looked amazing. He tried not to eat too quickly, but it was hard when faced with fresh bread and vegetables. "You mentioned AI applications," Musk said as they ate. "What was your specific focus at NeuroSync?" "Predictive maintenance algorithms," Marcus replied, between bites. "Using machine learning to forecast when renewable energy systems would need repairs or replacements before they actually failed. That's directly relevant to several of my companies," Musk noted. "I know," Marcus said. "We were hoping Tesla or SpaceX might become clients someday. Your companies generate massive amounts of performance data, perfect for the kind of algorithms we were developing." For the next half hour, the conversation flowed surprisingly easily between them. Musk asked technical questions about Marcus's work, and Marcus found himself falling back into the language and ideas of his previous life. It felt strange, but good, like finding an old favorite jacket in the back of a closet. "You know your stuff," Musk said finally. "How up-to-date are you on current developments?" Marcus shook his head. "Not very. I try to read what I can at the Readerseed library. But it's hard to keep up when you're worried about where you're going to sleep or what you're going to eat." Musk sat back in his chair, studying Marcus with that same intense gaze. What if those weren't concerns anymore? Marcus's heart began to beat faster. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what if you had a place to stay, food to eat, and a chance to catch up on everything you've missed in the tech world over the past 3 years?" "Why would you do that for me?" Marcus asked, suspicious now. "Because I returned your wallet? Is this some kind of charity?" "Not charity." Musk shook his head. "Investment. My companies need smart people who understand AI. You have experience in an area directly relevant to what we do. And you've demonstrated something important to me today." "What's that?" "Integrity under pressure." Musk leaned forward. "Anyone can be honest when it's easy. Few people choose honesty when it costs them something significant." Marcus didn't know what to say. This entire conversation felt surreal. "Here's what I'm proposing," Musk continued. "A job interview at Tesla for a position in our AI department working on predictive maintenance systems for our energy products." Marcus stared at him. "An interview? I don't have—" "We'll solve the immediate problems first," Musk cut in. "You'll need a place to stay, clothes, time to prepare. I'll have my assistant arrange everything." "Just like that?" Marcus couldn't keep the disbelief from his voice. Musk smiled slightly. "I'm in a position to make decisions quickly when I see potential. And I see potential in you, Marcus Holloway." Before Marcus could respond, there was a knock at the door. A woman with short dark hair entered, carrying a tablet. "Ah, Maya," Musk said. "Perfect timing. This is Marcus Holloway. I want to set him up for an interview with the Tesla AI team. He'll need accommodations, clothing, and a laptop for preparation." Maya nodded, making notes on her tablet without showing any surprise. "When would you like to schedule the interview?" Musk looked at Marcus. 2 days enough time for you to prepare?" Marcus's mind was spinning. Was this really happening? Yes. That should be fine. "Make it happen, Maya," Musk said, standing up. "Marcus, Maya will take care of everything. I look forward to hearing how your interview goes." And just like that, with a handshake and a nod, Elon Musk was gone, leaving Marcus sitting at the table, wondering if he was dreaming. "Mr. Holloway?" Maya's voice broke through his thoughts. "If you'll come with me, we can get started right away." Marcus stood, up slowly, still feeling like he might wake up at any moment back on his bench by the ferry building. "Where are we going?" he asked, as he followed Maya out of the dining room. "First, to get you settled at a hotel," she replied, her fingers moving rapidly over her tablet. "Then we'll arrange for some clothing and essentials. Mr. Musk wants you comfortable so you can focus on preparing for your interview." They took the elevator down to the lobby, where a black Tesla Model Y was waiting outside. The driver nodded respectfully as Maya opened the door for Marcus. "The Four Seasons is just a few blocks away," Maya said as they settled into the back seat. "We keep a suite there for visiting executives and special guests." Marcus almost laughed. 3 years of sleeping in shelters and under bridges, and now he was heading to the Four Seasons? "This doesn't feel real," he admitted. Maya gave him a small smile. "Mr. Musk tends to have that effect on people's lives. He makes decisions quickly when he sees something, or someone, with potential." As they drove, Maya explained the plan. He would stay at the hotel for a week, regardless of how the interview went. A selection of clothes would be delivered this evening. Tomorrow morning, someone from Tesla's AI department would bring a laptop and help him prepare for the interview. The interview itself will be in 2 days, at Tesla's Palo Alto headquarters, Maya concluded. "A car will pick you up at 9 a.m. At the hotel, Marcus felt out of place among the polished marble and gleaming chandeliers. He was acutely aware of his worn clothes and the stares from well-dressed guests, but the staff treated him with perfect professionalism as Maya checked him in. The suite was larger than the apartment he'd lost 3 years ago. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a view of the city, including the ferry building where he'd spent so many days. The bathroom had a shower with multiple jets and a tub big enough to swim in. The bed looked like it could fit 4 people comfortably. "This is too much," Marcus said, standing awkwardly in the middle of the living room. "Not according to Mr. Musk," Maya replied. She handed him a key card and a sleek black phone. "This has my number programmed in. Call if you need anything at all. The clothes should arrive within 2 hours." After she left, Marcus stood still for several minutes, afraid to touch anything. Finally, he gave in to the most urgent need, a hot shower. He couldn't remember the last time he'd had one. The water pressure was perfect, the temperature exactly right. He used the hotel's shampoo and soap, washing away years of public restroom sink baths. When he finally stepped out, the mirror showed a different person. Still thin, still bearded, but cleaner than he'd been in a very long time. He wrapped himself in a plush white robe and sat on the edge of the bed, thinking about everything that had happened since that morning. His thoughts drifted to NeuroSync, the company that had been his whole life before everything fell apart. They had been doing groundbreaking work on predictive maintenance algorithms, teaching computers to analyze patterns in equipment performance data to predict failures before they happened, for renewable energy systems like solar arrays and wind turbines, which were often in remote locations. Knowing when something needed maintenance before it failed could save millions. Their algorithms had shown incredible promise in tests, consistently predicting failures days or even weeks in advance. Marcus had led the core machine learning team, working directly with their founder and CEO, Diane Chen. She had been brilliant. IAD, Stanford PhD, who had worked at Google's AI division before starting NeuroSync. Under her leadership, they had secured $15 million in venture funding and grown to a team of 32 people. Then came the crash. Their main investor, facing losses in other areas, had pulled out unexpectedly. Diane had scrambled to find replacement funding, but in the economic downturn, venture capital had dried up. Within 3 months, they had closed their doors. Marcus had been confident he would find another job quickly. With his experience and skills, he had never worried about employment. But then he'd gotten sick. A simple infection that spread to his lungs because he'd delayed seeing a doctor after losing his health insurance. By the time he recovered, his savings were gone. Job interviews that had been promising suddenly fell through. Without a permanent address, companies became suspicious. Without a phone, he missed opportunities. And gradually, day by day, he had slipped into homelessness. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. The clothes had arrived. Jeans, shirts, sweaters, a jacket, shoes, everything in what looked like the right size. There were even toiletries, a watch, and a wallet. Marcus put on a pair of jeans and a simple blue button-down shirt. They fit perfectly. He looked in the mirror again and barely recognized himself. He looked almost like the person he had been before. The software engineer, the team leader, the man with a future. The phone Maya had given him buzzed with a text message. "Everything okay? Need anything else tonight?" Marcus texted back, "Everything is perfect. Thank you." He walked to the E20 window and looked out at the city lights. Somewhere down there was his bench, where he would have been sitting right now on any other night, trying to stay warm, hoping it wouldn't rain. Instead, he was 30 floors up, clean and comfortable, with the prospect of a job interview that could change everything. It didn't make sense. People like Elon Musk didn't pluck homeless people off the street and put them up in luxury hotels. There had to be more to this story. But right now, Marcus was too tired to question his good fortune. He lay down on the impossibly soft bed and was asleep within minutes, dreaming of algorithms and clean code, and a life he had thought was gone forever. Morning light streamed through the windows, waking Marcus from the deepest sleep he'd had in years. For a moment, he was confused by the unfamiliar surroundings. The plush bed, the spacious room, the silence. No shelter noises, no street sounds. Then yesterday's events came rushing back. He had found Elon Musk's wallet. He had returned it. And somehow, that simple act had led him here. After another luxurious shower, Marcus put on fresh clothes from those delivered the night before. He ordered breakfast from room service, something he'd never done in his life, and marveled at the simple pleasure of eating eggs and toast while looking out at the city below. At 9:30, his phone buzzed with a text from Maya. "Your Tesla contact will be there at 10. Her name is Aisha Rodriguez." Precisely at 10, there was a knock at the door. Marcus opened it to find a woman in her early 30s with curly black hair and glasses, carrying a laptop bag. "Mr. Holloway? I'm Aisha Rodriguez from Tesla's AI team," she said, offering her hand. "I understand you have an interview with us in 2 days." Marcus shook her hand. "Please, call me Marcus. And yes, apparently I do. Though this whole situation still feels unreal." Aisha smiled. "Mr. Musk has a reputation for unexpected decisions. May I come in?" They sat at the suite's dining table as Aisha unpacked a sleek laptop and several notebooks. "I've been briefed on your background," she said. "Former team lead at NeuroSync, specializing in predictive maintenance algorithms for renewable energy systems. That's impressive work. We followed your team's publications before the company folded." "You did?" Marcus was surprised. "Of course. Your approach to anomaly detection in solar array performance data was particularly innovative." She opened the laptop. "But that was 3 years ago, and things move quickly in our field. My job is to help you catch up on what you've missed." For the next 3 hours, Aisha walked Marcus through major developments in machine learning over the past 3 years. She showed him new frameworks, breakthrough papers, and evolving best practices. Marcus took notes, asked questions, and gradually began to feel his old confidence returning. "You're picking this up quickly," Aisha noted during a break. "Most people would be overwhelmed after being away from the field for so long." Marcus shrugged. "When you love something, you never really forget it. This feels like coming home after." Lunch delivered to the room, Aisha shifted to specifics about Tesla's AI work. "The position you're interviewing for would be on my team," she explained. "We're developing next-generation predictive maintenance systems for Tesla's Powerwall, solar roof, and utility-scale battery installations." "That's exactly what I was working on at NeuroSync," Marcus said, leaning forward with interest. "Yes, but with much bigger data sets and more complex systems." Aisha pulled up some sample data visualizations. Tesla has millions of devices in the field, all sending performance data. The patterns are incredibly complex. As they discussed technical challenges, Marcus felt increasingly alive. Ideas flowed as he pointed out potential approaches, and Aisha responded with thoughtful questions that pushed his thinking further. By late afternoon, they had covered considerable ground. Aisha began packing up her things. "You've got a good foundation now," she said. "I'll leave this laptop with you so you can review everything we've discussed and explore the sample datasets. I've also loaded some key papers you should read before the interview." "Thank you," Marcus said sincerely. "This has been incredibly helpful. But I have to ask, why is Tesla doing all this for me? Is it just because I returned Musk's wallet? There must be hundreds of qualified engineers who would love this job." Aisha considered her response carefully. "Mr. Musk has unusual instincts about people. He sees potential others miss. And honestly, your background is a perfect fit for what we need." She paused, then added, "But there's something else you should understand. This isn't charity. The interview will be real and rigorous. If you're hired, the expectations will be extremely high. Tesla doesn't carry passengers, no matter how they came to us." "I wouldn't want it any other way," Marcus said. After Aisha left, Marcus spent hours exploring the laptop, reading papers, and testing his skills on sample problems. He was rusty, but the fundamental understanding was still there. As night fell, he ordered dinner and continued working, determined to make the most of this chance. The next day passed in a blur of preparation. Marcus dug deeper into Tesla's technical publications, studied their energy products, and practiced coding solutions to the kinds of problems Aisha had described. By evening, his confidence had grown, but so had his awareness of how much ground he needed to make up. On the morning of the interview, Marcus woke early. He put on the nicest clothes that had been provided: dark gray slacks, a blue button-down shirt, and a charcoal blazer. Looking in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. The man staring back looked like a professional, someone with purpose and direction. His phone buzzed with a text from Maya. "Car will arrive in 30 minutes. Good luck today." Marcus took a deep breath. 3 days ago, he had been homeless, without hope or prospects. Now he was preparing for a job interview at one of the most innovative companies in the world. Whatever happened next, this experience had already changed him. The ride to Tesla's headquarters passed quickly. Marcus rehearsed answers to potential questions in his mind, trying to stay calm. The sprawling campus was impressive. Modern buildings, surrounded by carefully landscaped grounds and parking lots filled with Tesla vehicles. Inside, Maya was waiting for him in the lobby. "Mr. Musk asked me to check in on you. How are you feeling?" "Nervous," Marcus admitted. "But ready." "Good." The interview panel is waiting in the conference room. 4 people from the AI team, including Aisha. Maya led him through security and down a hallway lined with Tesla's technological achievements displayed in glass cases. Outside the conference room, she stopped. "Remember, Mr. Musk wouldn't have set this up if he didn't think you had potential. Just be yourself, the person who made the right choice when no one was watching." With those words, she opened the door, and Marcus stepped into the next chapter of his life, carrying nothing but his integrity and the knowledge he had fought to preserve through years of hardship. 4 people sat around a conference table, with Aisha among them. She gave Marcus a small, encouraging smile as he entered. "Mr. Holloway, welcome to Tesla," said a middle-aged man at the head of the table. "I'm Dr. James Chen, lead of the Energy AI division. Please have a seat." Marcus sat down, trying to keep his hands from shaking. The room was filled with screens displaying complex graphs and diagrams. "We understand you have an unusual story," Dr. Chen continued. "But today, we're focused solely on your technical abilities and fit for our team. Ms. Rodriguez has briefed us on your background, and we'd like to explore your expertise further." What followed was the most intense technical interview Marcus had ever experienced. One by one, the panel members probed his knowledge of machine learning algorithms, data analysis techniques, and software engineering principles. How would you approach anomaly detection in a data set with millions of daily inputs from diverse sources? Asked a woman who had introduced herself as Dr. Patel. Marcus took a deep breath and began explaining his approach, drawing on his work at NeuroSync while incorporating what he had learned from Aisha about Tesla's specific challenges. "I'd start by establishing baseline performance patterns for different categories of devices and environmental conditions," he said. "Then, I'd implement a multi-layered detection system that could identify both sudden deviations and gradual drift from expected parameters." He sketched a system architecture on the whiteboard, talking through each component. As he wrote and explained, he felt himself transforming, not just presenting ideas, but becoming again the engineer he once was. The questioning continued for over 2 hours, covering everything from specific algorithms to system design principles. Sometimes Marcus answered confidently. Other times, he had to admit knowledge gaps, explaining how he would approach learning what he didn't know. "Your technical foundation is strong," Dr. Chen said finally, "but there's something else we need to discuss. You've been out of the field for 3 years. Technology moves quickly, especially in AI. Why should we hire you when we have candidates with current experience?" It was the question Marcus had been dreading, but also the one he was most prepared for. "I won't pretend those 3 years didn't happen," he said. "I have gaps in my knowledge, and I'll need to work hard to close them. But I also have something those other candidates might not." "And what's that?" asked Dr. Patel. "I've experienced system failure in the most personal way possible. I know what it means when systems people depend on break down. At NeuroSync, we were creating algorithms to predict failures in machines. On the streets, I learned about failures in human systems, healthcare, housing, employment. I understand now that technology isn't just about elegant code. It's about building systems that work reliably for real people with real needs. The room fell silent. Marcus worried he had said too much, been too personal. Then Aisha spoke. How would that perspective influence your approach to our predictive maintenance systems? Marcus thought for a moment. Tesla's energy products are in homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure. When they work properly, people have power, security, comfort. When they fail unexpectedly, people suffer. Our algorithms aren't just saving money on maintenance, they're preventing disruptions to people's lives. I would never forget what's really at stake. Dr. Chen exchanged glances with the other panel members. Thank you, Mr. Holloway. If you'll wait outside, we need a few minutes to discuss. In the hallway, Marcus paced nervously. He had done his best, but was it enough? The technical questions had been challenging, and his answer about his time on the streets had been a gamble. After 15 minutes that felt like hours, Aisha came to get him. We have a few more questions, she said, her expression neutral. Back. In the conference room, Dr. Chen looked serious. Mr. Holloway, we've reviewed your responses and have a clearer picture of your capabilities. While your technical knowledge is strong in some areas, there are significant gaps in others. Marcus's heart sank. He had failed. However, Dr. Chen continued, your problem-solving approach and your unique perspective are valuable. We believe you have potential, but we're not ready to offer you a position in our core AI team. Marcus nodded, trying to hide his disappointment. I understand. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm not finished, Dr. Chen interrupted. Mr. Musk has proposed an alternative. He'd like to meet with you to discuss it, if you're willing. Confused, but hopeful, Marcus agreed. He was escorted to a different building and an unmarked office. When the door opened, Elon Musk was standing by a window, looking at a large display of satellite images. Marcus, come in, Musk said. How was the interview? Challenging, Marcus admitted. They said I'm not right for the AI team. That's what I expected, Musk replied, surprising Marcus. You're rusty, and they need people who can hit the ground running. But that's not the only opportunity at Tesla. Musk gestured to a chair, and Marcus sat down. I've been thinking about a new project, Musk continued. Something that combines technology with social impact. Your unique background, both as an AI engineer and as someone who has experienced homelessness, makes you potentially valuable in a way those other candidates aren't. What kind of project? Marcus asked. A technology initiative focused on homelessness, Musk explained. Using AI and data analysis to identify people at risk, match them with appropriate resources, and help them rebuild their lives. I want someone who understands both the technical challenges and the human realities to help develop it. Marcus was stunned. You want me to work on this? I want you to help shape it from the ground up, Musk clarified. Under my direct supervision. It would involve catching up on your technical skills while applying your unique insights. The position comes with full benefits, including housing assistance and a competitive salary. Marcus felt lightheaded. This wasn't just a job, it was a purpose that connected his past and present in ways he couldn't have imagined. Why me? He asked. Why are you doing this? Musk considered the question. Let's just say returning my wallet was the first test, and you passed. The interview was the second. You didn't get the answers all right, but you showed something more important, authentic understanding of why our work matters. Marcus struggled to find words. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Musk replied simply. And then let's get to work. The housing crisis isn't solving itself. and I think technology can help, if it's guided by the right people. Marcus thought about his bench by the ferry building, about the others he had met on the streets, people with talents, skills, and potential that society couldn't or wouldn't see. "Yes," he said firmly. "I'm in." Musk nodded, satisfied. "Good. Maya will handle the paperwork. You start Monday. This weekend, get yourself settled. Your life is about to get very busy." As Marcus left the building with a job offer letter in hand, he looked up at the clear blue sky and thought about how quickly life could change. For worse, but sometimes, amazingly, for better. A Tesla was waiting to take him back to the hotel. As they drove, Marcus read through the offer letter again, hardly believing the salary figure. It was more than he had made at NeuroSync, even as a team lead. The housing assistance program would help him find and pay for an apartment until he got established. There was health insurance, retirement benefits, and stock options. 5 days ago, he had been sleeping on a bench. Back at the hotel, Marcus called Maya using the phone he'd been given. "Congratulations," she said when she answered. "Mr. Musk just told me the good news." "I'm still in shock," Marcus admitted. "This doesn't happen to people like me." "It happens to the right person at the right time," Maya replied. "Tomorrow morning, I'll send someone to help you apartment hunt. The company has relationships with several properties in San Francisco and Oakland. In the meantime, the hotel is booked for another week." After they hung up, Marcus sat by the window, watching the city below. His mind kept returning to the people he had known on the streets, veterans with PTSD, former professionals who had lost everything to medical bills or addiction, young people who had aged out of foster care, with nowhere to go. They were all still out there while he sat in this luxury hotel. The next morning, a Tesla employee named David helped Marcus tour apartments. After seeing 3 options, Marcus chose a small but modern 1-bedroom in Oakland, close to a BART station for an easy commute. The rent was reasonable with Tesla's subsidy, and he could afford it on his new salary. "When can I move in?" Marcus asked as they finished the paperwork. "Right away," David said. "The place is available now." That afternoon, Marcus went shopping for essentials: bedding, kitchenware, toiletries, more clothes. The experience was surreal. After years of owning only what he could carry, he now had to make choices about bath towels and coffee mugs. By the evening, Marcus was sitting on the floor of his new apartment, surrounded by shopping bags. The place was sparse, just a mattress on the floor, a small table with 2 chairs, and the items he'd bought that day. But it was his. He had keys, an address, stability. He should have felt nothing but joy. But a strange melancholy crept in. This rapid transition was disorienting. He kept catching himself conserving toilet paper or saving plastic bags out of habit. His phone buzzed with a text from Aisha. "How's the new place? Ready for Monday?" Marcus wrote back. "Getting settled. Still feels unreal. Ready to work." Her response came quickly. "Normal to feel overwhelmed. One day at a time. See you Monday." The weekend passed in a blur. Marcus continued setting up his apartment and preparing for his first day. He studied the materials Aisha had given him, determined to make the most of this opportunity. Monday morning, he put on new clothes, took the BART to San Francisco, and then a Tesla shuttle to headquarters. A security badge was waiting for him at reception, along with Aisha. "Welcome to your first day," she said, leading him through the building. "You'll be working here." She opened the door to a small office with a desk, 2 chairs, and a high-end computer setup. A large whiteboard covered one wall. "It's not much yet," she explained. "We're building this project from scratch. For now, it's just you, me, and 2 data scientists who will join us next week." Mr. Musk wants regular updates on our progress. The morning was spent on orientation, paperwork, system access, company policies. After lunch, Musk himself stopped by. "Marcus, good to see you settled," he said. "Aisha will help you get up to speed technically. I want you to start thinking about the problem you're uniquely positioned to understand, how technology might help address homelessness." "I've had some ideas already," Marcus said. "Good. Set up a weekly meeting with my assistant. I want to hear them directly." And with that, Musk was gone, moving at his characteristic brisk pace. The rest of the day, Marcus worked with Aisha to define the initial scope of the project. They discussed data sources, potential machine learning applications, and the ethical considerations of using AI in such a sensitive context. "The challenge is enormous," Aisha acknowledged as they wrapped up. "Homelessness has complex social, economic, and personal factors. Technology can't solve it alone." "I know," Marcus agreed, "but it can help identify patterns, allocate resources more effectively, and maybe prevent people from becoming homeless in the first place." As weeks passed, Marcus settled into a routine. During the day, he worked on the project, rapidly refreshing his technical skills with Aisha's help. In the evenings, he continued making his apartment feel like home. Some days were harder than others. He experienced moments of imposter syndrome, wondering if he deserved this second chance when so many others remained on the streets. Sometimes he had nightmares about being back on his bench, discovering this had all been a dream. His colleagues at Tesla had mixed reactions to his story, which had spread despite his preference for privacy. Some were fascinated and supportive. Others were skeptical, viewing him as a charity case or publicity stunt. A few were openly resentful, believing he hadn't earned his position through traditional channels. One day, after a particularly difficult meeting where a senior engineer had questioned his qualifications, Aisha found Marcus sitting alone in his office. "Don't let them get to you," she said. "They don't understand what Mr. Musk sees in you." "Sometimes I don't either," Marcus admitted. "I do," Aisha said firmly. "You have something they don't. Perspective. And that's exactly what this project needs." Her confidence helped, but Marcus still felt the pressure to prove himself every day. The project's scope was dauntingly broad, the technical challenges substantial, and the stakes, helping people like those he had lived alongside, couldn't be higher. Yet for all the difficulties, Marcus went home each night to his own apartment, with food in the refrigerator and bills paid on time. As fall turned to winter, he watched the rain from inside, warm and dry, thinking of those still outside in the cold. This second chance was more than just a job. It was becoming a mission, one that would test everything he had learned, both as an engineer and as a man who had lost everything and found his way back. 1 month into his new life, Marcus stood in his apartment, still surprised by the simple luxuries: running water, a refrigerator, a door that locked. Sometimes he would open the fridge just to look inside, still not quite believing the food was his. He would turn on the shower and stand under the hot water until his skin was red, remembering the years of quick rinses in public restrooms. These moments of gratitude were mixed with anxiety. What if it all disappeared again? Each morning he double-checked that his badge and keycard were in his pocket. Each night, he laid out his clothes for the next day, afraid of making any mistake that might cost him this opportunity. Sleeping in a bed was still strange after years on benches and shelter cots. Most nights, Marcus woke several times, momentarily, confused about where he was. Sometimes he found himself checking the locks repeatedly before he could relax. At work, The project was taking shape. The team had grown to include Aisha, the two data scientists, Lynn and Hector, and now Marcus. They had been given a specific mission: develop an AI-driven system to identify individuals at risk of homelessness before they lost housing, and to match currently homeless individuals with the most appropriate services based on their specific needs and circumstances. The problem, Marcus explained during a planning session, is that services exist in silos. Housing assistance, mental health resources, job training, addiction treatment, they're all separate systems. Someone in crisis has to navigate them, all while already struggling. And the data is fragmented, Lynn added. Health records, financial information, housing history. It's all separated by privacy regulations and organizational boundaries. Marcus nodded. When I was on the streets, I spent so much time going from one office to another, filling out similar forms, explaining my situation over and over. Each time, I had to miss a day looking for work or collecting recyclables. It was a full-time job, just trying to get help. This insight led to their first major design decision: creating a secure opt-in system that would allow individuals to control their own data while making it accessible to multiple service providers with proper permissions. The weekly meetings with Musk were challenging. He expected rapid progress and pushed the team to think bigger. The goal isn't just to help people once they're homeless, he said during one session. It's to prevent homelessness in the first place by identifying warning signs early. Medical bills, job loss, eviction notices, these are all data points that could trigger intervention. That kind of predictive system raises serious privacy and ethical concerns, Aisha cautioned. Of course it does, Musk agreed. That's why Marcus is here. He understands both the technical and the human sides of this problem. Those words increased the pressure Marcus already felt. During one meeting, when he struggled to explain a technical concept clearly, he saw skepticism in the eyes of some executives present. He could almost hear their thoughts. Why is this homeless guy in the room? That evening, he worked late, pushing himself to master the material more thoroughly. Aisha found him still at his desk at 9 o'clock. You don't have to prove yourself every minute of every day, she said gently. Yes, I do, Marcus replied. Everyone's watching, waiting for me to fail. Not everyone, Aisha countered. I'm not, and neither is Musk. As the weeks passed, Marcus found an unexpected ally in Aisha. Their working relationship gradually evolved into friendship. She never treated him as a charity case, challenging his ideas when necessary, but always respecting his unique perspective. One evening, after a particularly productive day, she suggested they get dinner. Over tacos at a small restaurant near the office, their conversation shifted from work to personal matters. How's the adjustment going? Aisha asked. Really? Marcus considered the question. It's strange. Sometimes I feel guilty for having all this when people I know are still out there. Sometimes I'm terrified it will disappear. And sometimes I just feel normal. Like maybe I belong here after all. Aisha nodded. That makes sense. You're experiencing a kind of reverse culture shock. It takes time. Did Musk tell you how we met? Marcus asked. About the wallet? Just that you returned it when you found it, Aisha said. Most people wouldn't have, especially in your situation. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I'd kept the money, Marcus admitted. $2,000 would have made things easier for a while. But then what? This opportunity is worth so much more. It wasn't just about returning the wallet, Aisha said. It was what that action revealed about you. Musk likes to say that character is who you are when no one is watching. As winter turned to spring, the project progressed rapidly. The team created prototypes, ran simulations, and began discussions with city agencies about potential partnerships. Marcus contributed both technical ideas and practical insights about the realities of homelessness. His apartment slowly became a home. He bought a proper bed frame, a comfortable couch, and a desk where he could work in the evenings. He reconnected with his sister in Portland, who had lost touch with him during his homeless years. Their first video call ended with both of them in tears. But for all the positive changes, Marcus still felt a pull toward his old life. Not nostalgia, but responsibility. One Saturday, he took the BART to his old neighborhood near the ferry building. He found Ellie still running her coffee cart. "Marcus!" she exclaimed when she saw him. "Look at you! I heard rumors you'd hit the jackpot somehow." He told her an abbreviated version of his story while she made him coffee. "I always knew you were meant for better things," Ellie said. "You were different from most of the others. Always reading, always thinking." "The others aren't so different," Marcus replied. "They just haven't had their luck turn yet." After leaving Ellie, Marcus walked to the bench where he had spent so many days. A man was sleeping there now, his possessions in a shopping cart nearby. Looking at him, Marcus thought, "That could still be me." The man stirred and opened his eyes, startled to find someone watching him. "Sorry," Marcus said. "I didn't mean to wake you. I used to stay here too." The man sat up cautiously. "You got a smoke?" "No, but I can get you some food if you're hungry." That day marked a turning point for Marcus. As he walked back to the BART station, the project he was working on felt less abstract, more urgent. These weren't just data points and algorithms. They were people with names and stories and potential. His two worlds, the engineer and the homeless man, were beginning to merge into something new, something purposeful. The adjustment wasn't over, but the direction was clear. 6 months after finding Elon Musk's wallet, Marcus had become an integral part of the project team. Their work had evolved into a comprehensive system they called Pathway, designed to connect people experiencing homelessness with appropriate services while also identifying those at risk before they lost housing. On a cool October morning, Marcus stood beside Aisha in a conference room at Tesla headquarters, preparing to present their work to Musk and a group of executives. The room buzzed with conversation as people took their seats. "Nervous?" Aisha whispered. "Terrified," Marcus admitted. 6 months ago, I was collecting cans for recycling money. Now I'm presenting to billionaires." "You've earned your place here," she reminded him. "No one knows this project better than you do." When Musk entered, the room quieted immediately. He nodded at Marcus and Aisha before taking a seat at the front of the room. "Let's see what you've built," he said simply. Marcus stepped forward, his heart pounding. He had practiced this presentation dozens of times, but standing here now, he felt the full weight of the moment. 6 months ago, Mr. Musk gave us a challenge. Marcus began. Use technology to address homelessness in a meaningful way. Today, we're presenting Pathway, a system that combines AI, data analysis, and human insights to connect people with the right resources at the right time. For the next hour, Marcus and Aisha took turns explaining different aspects of Pathway. They showed how it could securely manage personal data while matching individuals to appropriate services based on their specific situations. Veterans to VA programs, families to family shelters, people with mental health needs to appropriate treatment options. What makes Pathway different, Marcus explained, is that it's designed by someone who has been in the system. We've built it to address the real barriers people face: transportation challenges, documentation issues, scheduling, conflicts. The most innovative aspect was the early intervention component, which could identify risk factors for homelessness before someone lost housing, medical bills, eviction notices, job loss, domestic violence reports, and connect them with preventative services. As they concluded, Musk leaned forward in his chair. Implementation timeline? We're ready for a pilot program in San Francisco, Aisha said. We've already had preliminary discussions with city officials and several nonprofit organizations. Funding requirements? Asked one of the executives. Marcus took a deep breath. We estimate $25 million for the first year of the pilot program, with potential expansion to other cities depending on results. The room fell silent. $25 million was a significant ask, even for a company like Tesla. Musk stood up. I've been following this project closely over the past 6 months. What Marcus and his team have developed has the potential to transform how we address homelessness, not just treating symptoms, but preventing it before it happens. He turned to face the executives. I'm personally committing $50 million to launch this initiative, not as a Tesla project, but as a separate, nonprofit organization. Double the requested amount, because I believe this needs to move quickly. Marcus felt like the floor had dropped away beneath him. $50 million? A separate organization? Marcus will serve as the technical director, Musk continued. We'll need to build out a full team, establish partnerships with city governments, and develop implementation plans for multiple locations simultaneously. After the meeting, as the executives filed out with excited conversation, Musk approached Marcus and Aisha. You've exceeded my expectations, he said. Both of you. This is exactly the kind of innovative thinking I was hoping for when we started. Thank you for the opportunity, Marcus replied, still processing the magnitude of what had just happened. Don't thank me yet, Musk said, with a hint of a smile. The real work is just beginning. I want Pathway operational in San Francisco by January, then Los Angeles and Seattle by June. We have people to help. In the weeks that followed, Marcus's life transformed again. He was named technical director of the newly formed Pathway Initiative, with a team of 20 engineers, data scientists, and social work professionals reporting to him. Aisha became operations director, working closely with him to build out the organization. The announcement of Musk's $50 million commitment made headlines across the country. Suddenly, Marcus found himself giving interviews to technology publications and news programs, explaining how Pathway would work and what made it different from previous attempts to address homelessness. The key innovation, he explained during one interview, is integration. Right now, services exist in isolation. Housing here, mental health there, job training somewhere else. Pathway creates a coordinated system where people can access everything they need through a single point of contact, whether that's an app, a case manager, or a community center. Some critics called it a publicity stunt or questioned whether technology could really address such a complex social problem. But as details of the system became public, even skeptics began to see its potential. One evening in December, as the San Francisco pilot program prepared to launch, Marcus returned to the ferry building. Snow flurries danced in the air, rare for the city, and holiday decorations sparkled along the Embarcadero. He found Ellie closing up her coffee cart. When she saw him, her face lit up. "The famous Marcus Holloway," she said, giving him a hug. "I saw you on the news. So proud of you." "It's been a wild ride," Marcus admitted, "but a good one." "You're helping a lot of people," Ellie said. "Word's getting around about this Pathway thing. People are hopeful." "That's why I came to find you," Marcus said. "We're opening our first Pathway Center next week, just 3 blocks from here. I want you to come to the opening. And maybe consider a job there? We need people who understand the community." Ellie's eyes widened. "Me? Work for your fancy new organization?" "Who better?" Marcus said. "You know everyone. You've been helping people longer than any of us." As they made plans for Ellie to visit the center, Marcus gazed at his old bench. 1 year ago, he had been sitting there, cold and hopeless, with no idea how dramatically his life was about to change. Now, he was leading an initiative that might change other lives just as dramatically. The path from that bench to this moment wasn't one anyone could have predicted. Not even Elon Musk. The grand opening of the first Pathway Center in San Francisco drew a crowd of city officials, media, and curious onlookers. Located in a renovated warehouse near the Embarcadero, the center featured a welcoming lobby, private meeting rooms, computer stations, shower facilities, and a cafeteria. Most importantly, it housed representatives from dozens of service organizations, all under one roof. Marcus stood nervously at the podium, looking out at the faces before him. Elon Musk sat in the front row, along with the mayor and several city supervisors. Aisha gave him an encouraging nod from the side of the stage. 1 year ago, Marcus began, I was homeless in this city. I slept on benches, in shelters, when I could get a spot, and spent my days trying to survive. Like many people experiencing homelessness, I wasn't always in that situation. I had been a software engineer with a home and a future until a series of setbacks took everything away. Habriti paused, looking at the crowd. What makes Pathway different is that it's built by someone who has navigated the system from the inside. We've designed it to address the real challenges people face, not just providing resources, but making those resources truly accessible. As he explained how Pathway would work, Marcus felt a surge of pride in what they had created. The AI system would help match individuals with appropriate services based on their specific needs, while the physical center provided immediate access to basics like showers, food, and computers. Technology alone can't solve homelessness, Marcus acknowledged, but it can help coordinate our response, identify those at risk before they lose housing, and ensure that no one falls through the cracks because they didn't know what help was available. After the speeches and ribbon cutting, Marcus gave tours to various groups. Ellie, now employed as the center's community liaison, helped guide people through the facilities. Late in the afternoon, as the event was winding down, Aisha approached Marcus with a strange expression on her face. Musk wants to see you, she said quietly. In the conference room upstairs. He says it's important. Puzzled, Marcus made his way to the second-floor conference room. Musk was waiting, along with a woman Marcus didn't recognize. Marcus, please sit down, Musk said. This is Dr. Helen Winters. She has something we both think you should know. Dr. Winters smiled warmly. Mr. Holloway, I've been following your work with great interest. I'm a researcher at Stanford, specializing in behavioral economics and decision-making. Nice to meet you, Marcus said, confused about why this introduction was happening now, on the day of the center's opening. For the past 3 years, Dr. Winters continued, I've been conducting a study funded by Mr. Musk. We've been examining how people respond when finding lost wallets in various circumstances. Marcus felt a strange prickling sensation at the back of his neck. In our experiment, she explained, researchers lost wallets in public places across 15 major cities. The wallets contained varying amounts of money, identification, and contact information. We then tracked how many were returned and whether the money was still inside. Marcus looked at Musk, who was watching him intently. The wallet I found, Marcus began, understanding dawning, was part of the study, Dr. Winters confirmed. though the consequences weren't part of our original experimental design. Marcus sat back, stunned. It was a test? The wallet was planted? Musk leaned forward. The wallet was part of Dr. Winters's research. Yes, my name and ID were used for the highest value condition of the experiment. Wallets with substantial cash and a wealthy person's identification. But I don't understand, Marcus said. How did that lead to everything else? The job? This project? When a wallet is returned, we conduct background research on the finder as part of the study, Dr. Winters explained. We discovered your interesting history, from AI engineer to homelessness. That caught Mr. Musk's attention. You were one of only 17% who returned a wallet with a wealthy person's ID and a significant amount of cash, Musk added. And the only one with both technical skills relevant to my company's and personal experience with homelessness. It was a unique combination. Marcus tried to process this information. The moment that had changed his life, finding that wallet, had been manufactured. It wasn't chance or fate, it was a research study. So none of this would have happened. If I hadn't been part of your experiment, he asked. Probably not, Musk acknowledged. But that doesn't diminish what you did, or who you are. You made a choice that revealed your character, and everything that followed came from that genuine moment of integrity. Dr. Winters nodded. Our research shows that people's decisions about returning wallets tell us something fundamental about human nature. Those who return wallets with large sums of money, especially when they themselves are in need, demonstrate extraordinary ethical commitment. Marcus felt conflicted. On one hand, learning that his life-changing moment had been staged was unsettling. On the other hand, he had made a genuine choice that day. No one had forced him to return the wallet. Why tell me this now? He asked finally. Because Pathway is about to expand to other cities, Musk explained. The data from Dr. Winters' study is informing aspects of our approach. And because you deserve to know the full story before we move forward. The study continues, Dr. Winters added. We're still conducting wallet drops in cities around the world, gathering data on human behavior and decision-making. Your experience has already changed how we think about the potential outcomes of this research. As Marcus left the conference room, his mind was spinning. He found a quiet corner and sat down, trying to make sense of what he'd just learned. The wallet that had changed everything had been left deliberately. His life had been transformed by a social experiment, yet his choice had been real. His work on Pathway was real. The people who would be helped by the centers were real. Aisha found him there, concern on her face. Are you okay? What did Musk want? Marcus looked up at her, uncertain how much to share. Did you know about the wallet? Her expression shifted, to surprise, then understanding. They told you? No, I only found out last week when they were preparing for this conversation. How does it make you feel knowing your job came from a research study? Marcus asked. Aisha sat beside him. The same way I felt about it coming from a lost wallet. Grateful for the opportunity, but aware that we've earned our place here through the work we've done since. She was right, Marcus realized. The origin story mattered less than what they had built with the opportunity. Outside the window, he could see people entering the Pathway Center. Some well-dressed volunteers, others clearly experiencing homelessness. Inside, they would find resources, respect, and perhaps a path forward. However it had started, that was what mattered now. In the weeks following the revelation about the wallet, Marcus threw himself into his work. The San Francisco Pathway Center was helping dozens of people each day, connecting them with housing, healthcare, job training, and other essential services. The AI system was learning and improving, becoming better at matching individuals with the right resources. But the truth about how his journey began lingered in Marcus's mind. During quiet moments, he found himself questioning everything. Had Musk hired him out of genuine interest in his abilities? Or was he just another experiment? Was he chosen for his skills, or as a feel-good story to generate positive publicity? 1. Evening, as Marcus worked late at the center, he noticed someone watching him from the doorway of his office. It was Dr. Helen Winters. "May I come in?" she asked. Marcus nodded, gesturing to a chair. "What brings you here?" "I wanted to see how you're doing," she said. "Learning about the study must have been quite a shock." "I'm still processing it," Marcus admitted. "It's strange to think that a moment I considered pure chance, finding that wallet, was actually orchestrated." "Not entirely orchestrated," Dr. Winters corrected. "The wallet was placed intentionally, yes, but your response was genuine. That's what matters. Is it?" Marcus asked. "Or was I just a data point that turned into a PR opportunity?" Dr. Winters considered this. "I understand your skepticism, but I've known Elon Musk for many years, and I can tell you that's not how he thinks. He's genuinely interested in identifying people who make principled choices under pressure." She opened her tablet and showed Marcus a spreadsheet. "Our study has documented over 8,000 wallet drops in 15 countries. The return rate varies dramatically based on several factors: amount of money, type of identification, location, even weather conditions. And my situation? Wealthy person's ID, significant cash, finder experiencing homelessness. The rarest combination and the lowest return rate, just 17%, as we told you. Most people assume someone wealthy wouldn't miss the money." Marcus thought about that day again. His internal debate on the bench, the way he had justified keeping the money, and then his father's voice in his head. "What I still don't understand," he said finally, "is why Musk would create an entire project and invest $50 million based on one person returning a wallet." Dr. Winters smiled. "He didn't. The Pathway Initiative was already in development, a technology-driven approach to addressing homelessness. But they were missing something crucial: insider perspective. When his team discovered your background while researching you as a study participant, they saw an opportunity to bring in someone with both technical expertise and lived experience. This new information shifted Marcus's understanding. He wasn't a charity case or a publicity stunt. He had skills and knowledge they genuinely needed. "Has Musk told you about the next phase?" Dr. Winters asked. "We're expanding to more cities," Marcus replied. "Los Angeles and Seattle are next." "Not just that," she said. "The wallet study is continuing, but with a new dimension. We're now researching what happens when people who demonstrated integrity in the wallet test are given opportunities to use their unique talents." "You're studying me?" Marcus asked, uncomfortable with the idea. "Not exactly. We're studying the impact of opportunity combined with character. You're not the only wallet returner who has been offered a position. There are others in different Musk companies and initiatives, each chosen because they showed integrity and had valuable skills that matched a need." Dr. Winters stood to leave. "Your path from that bench to here wasn't random, Marcus, but that doesn't make your journey any less meaningful. In fact, I'd argue it makes it more so. You were chosen precisely because of who you are and what you did when tested." After she left, Marcus sat thinking about their conversation. The Pathway launch event was scheduled for the next day, and he was expected to give a speech about the U initiative. Now he wondered what to say and how much to reveal about its origins. That night, He worked late drafting his remarks, trying to find the right words to express how he felt about everything that had happened. When he finally returned to his apartment, he found Aisha waiting outside his door. "I thought you might need a friend tonight," she said. "Big day tomorrow." They sat in his living room, drinking tea and talking about the launch. Finally, Marcus shared what he had learned from Dr. Winters. "So the project was always going to happen," Aisha said. "They just needed someone like you to make it work properly." "That makes me feel better, actually," Marcus admitted. "Like I'm not just a charity, project or publicity stunt." "You never were," Aisha said firmly. "Anyone who's worked with you knows that." As they talked, Marcus realized something important. Whether his opportunity had come from chance or design didn't change the value of what he was contributing. His experiences, both as an engineer and as someone who had lived on the streets, gave him insights no one else had. "What are you going to say tomorrow?" Aisha asked. "The truth," Marcus decided, or at least part of it. That sometimes opportunities come from unexpected places, and what matters is what we do with them. The next morning, as Marcus stood before the crowd at the Pathway Initiative's official launch, he looked out at the faces watching him. In the front row sat Elon Musk, Dr. Winters, and several city officials. Further back were staff members, volunteers, and some of the people who had already been helped by the San Francisco Center. "A year ago," Marcus began, "I found a wallet belonging to Elon Musk. Returning it changed my life in ways I never could have imagined. But what I've come to understand is that the true gift wasn't the job or the second chance. It was the opportunity to use everything I've experienced, both good and bad, to help others." He went on to explain how Pathway was designed to recognize the full humanity and potential of people experiencing homelessness, not just addressing immediate needs, but creating paths to lasting stability and purpose. "Each person who comes through our doors has a unique story and unique gifts," Marcus said. "Our job isn't just to provide services, it's to help people rebuild their lives and contribute their talents to society." As he spoke, Marcus felt a sense of clarity and purpose stronger than anything he had experienced before. His journey, from successful engineer to homeless man to project leader, had given him a perspective that was genuinely valuable. The real gift hadn't been finding Musk's wallet. It had been finding a way to transform his greatest struggle into his greatest strength. 1 year after the official launch of the Pathway Initiative, Marcus stood at the window of his office in the San Francisco Center, watching people come and go. What had started as a single location had grown into a network of centers in 5 cities, with plans for 5 more in the coming year. The system they had built was working better than anyone had expected. In San Francisco alone, they had helped over 2,000 people find stable housing and connected thousands more with healthcare, job training, and other essential services. The early intervention program had prevented hundreds of evictions by providing emergency assistance to families on the brink of homelessness. "Quite a view," said a familiar voice behind him. Marcus turned to see Elon Musk standing in the doorway. His visits were infrequent, but always meaningful. "I was just thinking about how far we've come," Marcus said. "And how far you've come," Musk added, stepping into the office. "From that bench by the ferry building to running a national initiative. That's quite a journey." "Sometimes I still can't believe it," Marcus admitted. "I wake up expecting to be back on the streets." Musk nodded understanding. "I wanted to talk to you about the next phase. The board approved the international expansion yesterday. London, Toronto, and Berlin will be the first cities outside the US." Marcus had been preparing for this possibility for months, developing plans and researching homelessness policies in various countries. Still, Hearing it was officially happening sent a thrill of excitement through him. "That's fantastic news," he said. "We'll need to adapt the system for different social service structures, but the core approach should work anywhere." "That's why I'm here," Musk said. "I want you to lead the international expansion. You'll need to relocate to London for at least 6 months to oversee the launch there." Marcus was speechless. 3 years ago, he couldn't afford a bus ticket across town. Now he was being asked to move to London to expand a program he had helped create. "I know it's a big ask," Musk continued. "You've built a life here. But no one understands this system better than you do." "I'd be honored," Marcus said finally, "though I'll need Aisha to come as well. We work best as a team." Musk smiled. "I had a feeling you'd say that. She's already agreed, pending your decision." After Musk left, Marcus called his sister in Portland to share the news. Their relationship had been rebuilt slowly over the past 2 years, healing the wounds that had opened during his time on the streets. "London?" she exclaimed. "Marcus, that's amazing." "It still doesn't feel real," he confessed. "Any of it." "Well, it is real," she said firmly, "and you've earned every bit of it. Not just by returning that wallet, but by everything you've done since." Later that evening, Marcus met Aisha for dinner at a small restaurant near the Embarcadero, the same one where they had first talked as friends rather than just colleagues. "So," she said, raising her glass. "London calling?" Marcus clinked his glass against hers. "Apparently so. You're really okay with relocating? Are you kidding? The chance to build this from the ground up in a new country? It's exciting." She paused, studying his face. "But you seem conflicted." Marcus nodded slowly. "I've been thinking about Dr. Winters and her wallet study, about chance and choice and how lives change." "What about it?" "The study is continuing, right? They're still dropping wallets around the world, watching who returns them and who doesn't." "As far as I know," Aisha confirmed. "Why?" "Because I've realized something important. That wallet was my second chance, but most people don't get one. Not in such a dramatic way." "What are you thinking?" Aisha asked, recognizing the look on his face, the one he got when he was developing a new concept for their system. "What if we created our own version of the wallet study? Not to gather data, but to create opportunities. What if Pathway wasn't just about connecting people with existing services, but about creating second chances?" Over the next hour, Marcus outlined his vision, a program within Pathway that would identify individuals demonstrating exceptional character despite difficult circumstances, then offer them opportunities based on their skills and interests, job training, education, mentorship, whatever they needed to rebuild their lives. "We could call it the Second Chance Initiative," Aisha suggested. "Identify people who show the kind of integrity you did, but might never find a wallet with a billionaire's ID in it." "Exactly," Marcus said, excited now. "We already have the assessment tools in our system. We could adapt them to identify candidates, then create tailored opportunity packages." "Musk would need to approve it," Aisha pointed out. "It would require additional funding." "I think he'll support it," Marcus said. "It's an extension of what he did for me, but systematized and available to more people." The next morning, Marcus presented the concept to Musk during a video call. As he expected, Musk immediately grasped the potential. "It's perfect," Musk said. "Using the Pathway system to identify people with exceptional character and creating opportunities based on their unique talents. I'll double the budget for the international expansion to include this component." Over the following months, Marcus and Aisha prepared for their move to London. They developed the framework for the Second Chance Initiative. They worked with Dr. Winters to incorporate insights from her research while focusing on the practical goal of creating opportunities rather than just gathering data. The day before their departure, Marcus revisited his old bench near the ferry, building one last time. It was a warm spring day, and the area was busy with tourists and office workers. As he sat there, memories washing over him, a young woman approached, hesitant but determined. "Excuse me," she said. "Are you Marcus Holloway? From the Pathway Initiative?" Surprised, Marcus nodded. "Yes, that's me." "I thought so. I recognized you from the news." She sat down beside him. "I wanted to thank you. I was homeless last year after losing my job and apartment. The San Francisco Center helped me find housing and a job training program. I'm working as a medical assistant now." "That's wonderful," Marcus said, genuinely moved. "That's exactly what Pathway is meant to do." "It's not just the practical help," she continued. "It's the way your staff treated me. Like a person with potential, not just a problem to solve. That made all the difference." After she left, Marcus remained on the bench, thinking about their conversation. Thousands of people had been helped by Pathway, but hearing one person's story made it real in a way statistics couldn't. The next day, as their plane took off for London, Marcus looked down at the city where his journey had begun. So much had changed in the 3 years since he had found that wallet. He had gone from homeless to housed, from hopeless to purposeful, from surviving to thriving. Next to him, Aisha was reviewing plans for the London Center on her tablet. Their friendship had deepened over the past year, evolving into something more, a partnership based on shared purpose and mutual respect. "Penny, for your thoughts?" she asked, noticing his contemplative mood. "I was just thinking about tests," Marcus replied. "About how life tests us in different ways, and how those tests reveal who we really are. Like finding a wallet with thousands of dollars when you're homeless. Like that. But also like everyday choices that no one sees or celebrates." He thought about the woman he'd met at his bench. The real test isn't what we do in one dramatic moment. It's what we do day after day, trying to make things better for ourselves and others. Aisha took his hand. And that's what the Second Chance Initiative is about. Recognizing those everyday choices, Marcus nodded. "Dr. Winters told me that they're continuing the wallet study in cities around the world. Right now, someone might be finding a wallet and facing the same choice I did. Maybe they'll keep it. Maybe they'll return it. But either way, they're being tested, whether they know it or not." As the plane rose above the clouds, Marcus thought about all the invisible tests happening below. People making choices that revealed their character when they thought no one was watching. The wallet that had changed his life might change another life tomorrow. And now, with the Second Chance Initiative, even more lives would change because someone had made the right choice when it was hard, just as his had. That was the real gift. Not just receiving a second chance, but creating second chances for others. Not just finding a wallet, but finding purpose. Not just returning something lost, but helping others find what they never knew they had. That was the end of Homeless Man Returns Elon Musk's Lost Wallet. Receives life-changing surprise. We hope you enjoyed following Marcus's journey from homelessness to helping others find their second chance. Where are you listening from? We'd love to know. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content like this. 1. If this tale of integrity and transformation touched you, please share it with your friends and family. To spread kindness and awareness, remember, sometimes the smallest acts of honesty can lead to the most unexpected opportunities. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.